My name is Cassandra Dorn. I'm a CFP with Provident Financial Consultants, and I want to take a moment to thank you all for joining me for our Guide to Social Security webinar. One quick thing to point out is after the session today, you will be emailed all the material we're going to go over because it's a lot. And when I get excited about things like Social Security, which I enjoy talking about, sometimes I go extremely fast. So I will try and leave time at the end of today for questions. But if I don't get to your question, or if you have a question later after going through the materials, please feel free to send me an email at info@providentfc.com, and that will be on one of the slides coming up. Also, I need to let you all know that this presentation is being recorded, and I do need to read the disclaimer, which I'm going to do as people are continuing to log in. So, this presentation should be regarded as educational information on Social Security and is not intended to provide specific advice. If you have questions regarding your particular situation, you should contact your legal or tax professional. This presentation is not intended as ERISA, tax, legal, or investment advice, and all entities are separate from LPL Financial. If you are seeking investment advice specific to your needs, such advice services should be obtained on your own separate from this educational presentation. So there's our disclaimer. So once again, my name is Cassandra Dorn. I am a CFP at Provident Financial Consultants. We are located in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and we at Provident believe education is a key in understanding how your money is to be managed, which is why we are doing these educational webinars each month. Is we really like to educate the community and the people we work with. So today we're going to jump off and get right into today's agenda, which is Social Security. We're first going to start with common questions. Then we're going to go into understanding claiming strategies, what that means if you're married or divorced or a widow or widower. And then last but not least, we cannot forget about tax considerations because again, there are two things that are certain in life and taxes are one of them. So we're going to leave with that on an uplifting note. So let's jump into things. One of the first questions people ask me is, how are my benefits determined? That's a great question because there's so many different components that go into how you receive benefits, what amount you are receiving. The first question I ask is, do you have any idea what your estimates are? We used to receive in the mail those beautiful white and green statements that would outline our earnings over our workforce years, as well as tell us different claiming ages and what we could expect to receive. Now, they stopped mailing those several years ago. In fact, the only people that usually get them are people who are over age 60 and don't collect benefits and don't have a login account at ssa.gov. Anyone under 60, we encourage to log in and create an account, ssa.gov/myaccount. You log in, and then you are able to actually pull up that green sheet, check your earnings history, and look at what Social Security estimates your benefits to be. So that's the first step in this process, is to create that account and look at your statement and get an estimate on what is available to you. So let's talk about those numbers. So currently, if you are your full retirement age, or your FRA as we refer to it, the maximum amount that you could expect to receive in 2021 is $3,148. However, what we find is for the average retired worker, they collect about $1,543 a month compared to that maximum benefit. Then when we look at married couples, for an average married couple, between the two of them in benefits, they receive approximately $2,596 a month. So that raises the question, Cassandra, you're telling me this maximum benefit is $3,148, but when two people collect, on average, it's less than that. Why? That's a great question. Let's go into that. So what we can see on this next slide is how your benefits are determined, and what you get paid is based on the first on your filing age. So again, you get that full benefit amount based on your full retirement age, your FRA, but you can claim as early as age 62. And if you claim early, you can expect a reduction in your benefits, which is why on average, we do find people receive less than that maximum amount. However, on the flip side, if you decide you want to delay benefits, you can delay up to age 70. And by delaying, you can receive credits towards that payment due at full retirement age. This creates an interesting opportunity if you can afford to wait. So let's dive into that a little deeper. So let's go into option one. This is the most simple option available. If you're going to retire at full retirement age, you will get your full primary insurance amount. So that's the full payment that Social Security has calculated based on your highest 35 years of working. Now, for full retirement age, a lot of clients have said, oh yeah, I get my full benefit at age 65, or I get my full benefit at age 66. And that may or may not be right, depending on the year in which you were born. So here you can see on the chart that if you were born in 1942, your full retirement age, based on Social Security's definition, is 65 and 10 months. For anyone born 1943 to 1954, your full retirement age is age 66. For people like me, born after 1960, my full retirement age is actually age 67. So it is important that when you're estimating what your full retirement benefit will be, that you know your full retirement age as defined by Social Security. So please take note of this slide. And again, if you don't have a pencil and a piece of paper handy, we will be sending you all of this so that you can make an informed decision of when your full retirement age is in the future. So your second option is filing early. That's as early as age 62 on your own benefit or possibly a spouse's. But if you file at age 62, you will receive a reduced benefit because there is an opportunity cost to file early and start receiving those benefits early. So here you can see if your full retirement age is age 66 and you decide to file at age 62, you can expect to receive an approximate 25% reduction in benefits. And that's permanent and it's for the rest of your life. Again, in my case, where my full retirement age is age 67, if I decide to retire early or file for benefits early at age 62, I can expect a 30% decrease in my benefit because I am filing so much earlier. Okay, so again, this is an important consideration when you are deciding if you're going to file early versus waiting. Another important consideration if you are considering to file at age 62 is, Cassandra, if I file at age 62 and I want to continue to work, can I do so? And the answer is yes, but it can be a little bit complicated. You need to be aware that there are ceilings essentially set by the Social Security Administration as to how much you can earn before it impacts your benefit. So as you can see by this chart, if you are under your FRA or your full retirement age and you file for benefits, your ceiling is capped at $18,960 per year. If you go over that amount, for every $2 you go over, the Social Security Administration will withhold $1 in benefits. The year in which you turn your full retirement age, that ceiling goes up to $50,520 per year. Then at that point, for every $3 you go over in earnings, they reduce your benefit by $1. In the year in which, or once you reach your full retirement age, you can earn as much as you want. That ceiling is gone. There is no reduction in benefits from that point forward. Another thing to consider is the year in which you retire, there is a special rule. So if you're like me, I'm not a huge fan of winter. I don't mind working January, February, March. It's cold, it's miserable outside. I might as well come to work. I do really enjoy what I do. I like coming into the office. But in the summer, it's a little harder. I like to garden, I like to golf, I like to be outside on nice summer days because in Wisconsin, I feel that there are not that many compared to the rest of the year. So what if I decide to retire in June? But while I worked in January, February, March, April, May, I earned over $18,960. Can I expect that my benefits will be impacted? The answer is no, not that first year. If I decide to retire in June, the Social Security Administration will not penalize me for those first 6 months of earnings. They will look at my year going forward, starting at that point in time. So as long as I don't go over the $18,960 for the remainder of the year, I'm okay. Now, after that, that rule applies for the entire year. So that is something to be aware of, is that the first year in which you retire, you get a special exemption, for those prior months of earnings. So we covered filing early and filing at your full retirement age. Let's go to the last option, filing after your full retirement age. Every year that you wait, currently, Social Security will provide a credit or an increase to your benefit for waiting. And right now, if you're born after 1943, which I believe most of us are attending this webinar, you will receive an 8% credit on that original amount due to you at full retirement age each year that you wait. So, what does that mean? How does that impact when you should decide to collect? Well, let's take a look at that. I have a lot of people say, Cassandra, I'd like to collect Social Security. I don't want to wait. I can make more investing than I can waiting for my Social Security payment. And in some years, absolutely, that is true. However, if we look historically at the S&P 500, on average, it has had an annualized return of 5.9% per year. If we look at the U.S. Treasuries, that returned 1.56% per year, compared to, again, delaying Social Security credits receiving 8% a year. So there could be opportunity for you to receive that 8% credit and look at other avenues of income in retirement that may not get that 8% and take from that first to lock in that higher amount for an income stream later in life. So again, let's put this idea of collecting early, collecting full retirement age, or waiting and collecting at age 70 on paper and essentially estimating when a potential break even, when you are better off waiting versus taking early on paper. And here you can see that this assumes that an individual whose full retirement age is age 66 and they were due $1,000 a month at that age has different areas or different timing of collection. So at age 62, they collected a lower benefit, but for a lot longer period than essentially waiting for age 60. And you can see the designated break-even points range from age 78 to age 82.5. Now, this is a prominent factor, is the length of how long you are going to collect, right? If you can tell me exactly how long you're going to be around collecting Social Security, I can estimate when it's probably a good time to collect that benefit. But unfortunately, my crystal ball is broken and a lot of people don't know the exact age when they're going to stop collecting Social Security. So we have to use estimates. And just for your information, life expectancy based on the Social Security Administration data says that a 65-year-old today can expect to live to approximately age 84 for a male and age 86 for a female. In fact, they say 1 out of 4 65-year-olds will live past age 90, and 1 out of 10 will live past 95. Again, these are hypothetical examples, but it's something to think about when you are considering collecting your own Social Security benefit. Other factors that we always like to discuss with clients is health considerations. We don't know all of your history, but you do. You should have a good idea of, okay, my family history says I have aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters or parents that have lived till this age. There's a good chance I'm going to live that long. Or we have a lot of heart issues in our family. We don't have a lot of longevity. These are all things that you will need to consider. Other components are, of course, marital status. This one makes me chuckle. Having a significant other or a partner in life, it must make our heart stronger, healthier, those fights, I don't know, that passion, something. when you have a partner, your average age or life expectancy seems to increase slightly. So that's something to consider. Years in workforce, if you work 30 years versus 35 years, you're going to have 5 years of zero. Does it make sense to work a few more years to get that benefit higher? And of course, other retirement assets. If you don't have other avenues to tap for income, you cannot afford to wait, and it looks like you will be taking Social Security. So all of these things need to be factored into the timing of when you want to take it and how it fits into your financial plan. Now, I referenced marital status as a impact on longevity, but marital status also has an impact on benefits that you could possibly receive. So let's talk about general rules for that. How Social Security looks at a married couple is what's mine is mine and what's his is mine, or vice versa. I always like saying it that way to my husband, and he chuckles. So I am entitled to my own benefit, and I am also entitled to half of my husband's benefit if it is larger than mine. Okay. How does this work? Well, one, I have to be at least 62 or older to qualify. I cannot collect benefits based on my spouse's benefit until my spouse applies for his benefit. Again, it will be reduced if I decide to file early at age 62. And here's a great little tidbit. These rules apply for divorced spouses as well, as long as your marriage lasted at least 10 years and you are currently unmarried. So if my husband and I get divorced, we have been married over 10 years. When I am age 62, I would be able to file for half of his benefit if it is greater than my full benefit, as long as I am unmarried at the time. Okay. There's a lot of rules to consider. These are very general rules, but they are things that you should keep in mind. So let's go through some examples. I always find examples make things easier to understand. So here we have Frank and Ellen. They are currently married. Frank is the higher wage earner in this scenario. His full retirement age is age 66. Ellen had the lower wages through their marriage, and her full retirement age is also age 66. So what are their options? What are we looking at? Well, they can retire earlier. They want to enjoy time together. They want to travel. Ellen wants that ability to access the spousal benefits earlier. So in our scenario, we have Frank retiring at his full retirement age. And at his full retirement age, his primary insurance amount, so that benefit that Social Security is going to pay him, is $2,600 a month. Under her own benefits, Ellen is entitled to $600 a month. But remember, she's also entitled to half of Frank's. That would be $1,300. So she can have her own, or she can get bumped up to the $1,300 a month. So when Frank files at his full retirement age of 66, we can see by this example, he will collect his $2,600 a month. And instead of collecting $600 a month on her own record, Ellen will actually receive $1,300 a month because she's entitled to the spousal benefit. So between the two of them, they are collecting $3,900 a month. What's important to point out is that Ellen collecting half of Frank's has no impact on Frank's benefit. That is a big concern that is often raised when I'm discussing these benefits with clients. Well, how will it impact my spouse? It won't. It's a benefit that you are entitled to, so you need to be aware of. Okay, so that's one example of a strategy. Now let's look at a second strategy that we often discuss with clients. What if Frank is concerned that Ellen may not have enough income if he were to pass away first, and he wants to maximize his Social Security benefit, or he simply wants to continue to work and he doesn't want to claim Social Security? In this scenario, we're going to have Frank delay benefit until age 70. Now, Ellen would like to collect something, so she's going to collect on her own benefit. So at age 66, she is going to go and file for her own benefit, which is $600 a month. Now, if you remember from our general rules, she can't collect half of Frank's yet because he hasn't applied. So she is going to continue to collect her own $600 a month until Frank files. And in this scenario, he's going to file at age 70. At that point, he will collect $3,432 a month, and Ellen will get an increase to $1,300. Now she gets half of his primary insurance amount due to him at full retirement age. That's why she only gets $1,300. She does not get half of his delayed retirement increase credits. She's maxed out for the spousal benefit at that $2,600 level, okay? And here we can also see the break-even point for the two of them is age 86. So in this scenario, because they delayed Frank filing, they will forego $158,400 over those first 4 years. That's a big chunk of money, okay? But if they live past age 86, they will actually come out ahead quite a bit. Let's look at different scenarios in this case. So here you can see the blue is an example where Frank lives till age 75 and Ellen lives until age 93. While the gray is Frank living till age 85 and Ellen living until age 93. We can see if they both collect at age 62, the difference is approximately $100,000 between those two scenarios. And again, remember, only one benefit remains. So that's where it makes sense if we're worried about some protection to possibly delay collecting on one benefit to lock in that higher survivorship, okay? So then, again, looking at those survivorship benefits, let's fast forward and let's look at how do survivor benefits work, because I've referenced them now with Frank and Ellen. Survivor benefits are a very important part of Social Security. In fact, that's one of the primary reasons that Social Security was established, to take care of widow and widowers and their family, because losing a wage earner in the family is a significant impact that we all understand. So what does this mean? General rules. The surviving spouse can receive up to 100% of the deceased spouse's benefits, okay? The couple needed to have been married at least 9 months prior to the time of death. If the survivor waits until their full retirement age, they will get that full primary insurance amount. However, they can file for benefits earlier than age 62. They can, in fact, file for the survivorship benefit as early as 60. But just like if you file early for your own benefits, you will receive a reduction. A divorced spouse has the same entitlement. However, the same rules apply where the marriage must have lasted at least 10 years and they cannot currently be married when they file for the benefits. Another thing to keep in mind is the spouse that is collecting will not receive 2 checks, right? They only get the highest of the 2 payments. So going back to Frank and Ellen, if Ellen is collecting $1,300 and Frank's benefit was $2,600 and Frank passes away, Ellen would then receive the $2,600 a month only. She will not get the $2,600 plus the $1,300, okay? So next thing, last but not least, because we're running out of time, I have about 5 minutes left and I want to be able to answer any questions that you may have. Let's briefly talk about tax considerations. Again, like I said in the beginning of the presentation, one of life's 2 things that are certain, taxes and death, right? So what we find is that those who have additional sources of income in retirement, whether it be pensions or savings or investment IRAs, annuities, if they have additional sources of income, it's possible that their Social Security will be taxable on the federal level, okay? Right now, the state of Wisconsin does not tax Social Security benefits. Only the federal level does. And how it's determined if you owe taxes on your federal, or if you owe taxes on your Social Security benefits on the federal level, is based on your income. So here we can see if you are an individual and your income is between $25,000 and $34,000, you can expect approximately at least 50% of your benefits to be included on your federal tax return. So what does this mean? If I'm collecting $1,000 a month, so $12,000 a year, and let's say my income is about $33,000, I should be prepared to have about $6,000 added onto my federal tax return for my Social Security benefits. So half of the 12 is the 6. If it's over 34,000, up to 85% of it would be taxable. Again, looking at the joint tax return, if your income's between 32,000 and 44,000, again, look at about 50% to be added back in. And if it's over 44,000, you can expect up to 85% to be added in. I always talk to clients when they're considering filing for tax or for Social Security. If they work with a tax preparer or CPA, please let them know this is your intention so that they will take this into account when doing estimates for the following year, or maybe adjusting withholdings on your pension, or possibly having some taxes withheld from Social Security. So that's an important conversation for you to have with your tax preparer. But be aware that Social Security could be taxable to you, and you need to have that thought in place when you're putting together your plan for retirement. So I have about 5 minutes left. We went over an absolute ton of information today. I hope you found it worthwhile. Again, we will be sending a full packet to each one of you, going over everything that I spoke about. I hope you found this time useful. Again, please feel free to reach out if you have any individual questions. And with that being said, I hope that we see you next month for our educational event, and have a good rest of your day.